Shabbat shalom l'kulam to everyone on this wonderful weekend of July 4th. What's that? Oh, okay. Lai, 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 lai. Lai, 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 turn now to page 99, and we see the words Elohai Neshama. God, you breathe life into me, to all of us, and so we remember how important our breath is. So take a breath in, breathe in Shabbat, and breathe out all the rest. Called a cleansing breath. And in our prayers, V'taher Libeinu, Kiddushat Hayom, the prayer for the day, for Shabbat, we talk about purity of heart. So breathe in Shabbat and breathe out all of the week. And we continue with Elohai Neshama 99. Elohai Neshama, 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 Shenatata bi, Shenatata bi, Tehorahi, Tehorahi. Elohai, Elohai, Neshama, Neshama, Shenatata bi, Shenatata bi, Tehorahi, Tehorahi. We turn now for the 150th Psalm, which we find on page 141. Kol hanshama tehalleluya, hallelujah. Kol hanshama tehalleluya, hallelujah, hallelujah. El bekodsho, hallelujah. Birkia uzo, hallelujah, vigvurotav, hallelujah, kerov gudlo, kol hanshama, tehalleluya, hallelujah, kol hanshama, tehalleluya, hallelujah, hallelujah, beteka shofar, hallelujah, benevel v'chinor, hallelujah, וטוב ומחור, הללוהו במינים ועוגב. כל הנשמה, כל הנשמה תהלליה, הללויה. כל הנשמה תהלליה, הללויה, הללוהו וצלצלי שמה, הללוהו וצלצלי תרועה, כל הנשמה תהלליה, הללויה. כל הנשמה תהלליה, הללויה. כל הנשמה תהלליה, hallelujah. We continue now to the Song of the Sea on 143. We ask you all to please rise. Ozi v'zimrat yah vayehi Yeshua, Ozi v'zimrat yah vayehi Yeshua, Ozi v'zimrat yah vayehi Adonai Yimloch, Adonai Yimloch, Le'olam Va'ed, Adonai Yimloch, Le'olam Va'ed. You may be seated, except those who are saying the Mourner's Kaddish. We will find on page 121. We'll go back to page 121. Those who are in mourning, those observing Yartzeit, please rise at this time. Yitgadal v'yitgadash shemei Rabbah be'olema divrach yiruteh v'yamlich malchuteh v'chayechon u'v'yomechon u'v'chayei dechol Beit Yisrael ba'agala u'vizman kariv v'yamaru Amen. Yehei shmei Rabbah mevorach le'alam u'lalmei Omaya. Yitbarach v'yishtabach v'yitpa'ar v'yitchomam v'yitnaseh v'yithadar v'yithaleh v'yithalal shemei dekudusha b'richu le'ela min kol birchata v'shirata tushbechata v'nechemata da'amiran be'alma v'yimaru Amen. Yehei shlama rabba min shemaya v'chayim aleinu v'yal kol Yisrael v'yimaru Amen. Oseh shalom b'mramav hu ya'aseh shalom aleinu v'yal kol Yisrael v'yimaru Amen.
Amen. Shabbat shalom, everyone. So you are the few who chose not to travel on this 4th of July weekend, right? The smart ones. Either because gas is too much, or maybe you're here because a flight was canceled. If you're at the airport, if you're waiting for a flight and you're still with us, good luck. Oh my gosh. But it's always so nice to be here. We're going to talk about America later. We're going to speak about the Jews in America, a little bit of the history, in addition to talk about the Torah portion. And Bryce Gilman is here preparing for his bar mitzvah. He's very nervous, by the way, but he's going to be great. And you'll have no more supportive of a community than your community right here. So we're going to walk you through this nice and easily. The Shacharit morning service beginning 147 Shochinad.
So we're going to do a mixture of nusach this morning. This one is going to be from the Abba Yudaya. For years they were doing Shochinad, Shochinad, Maharom, Bekadosh. So I taught them to do their own nusach. So here it is. It's easy, you'll be able to catch it. Shochinad, Maharom, Bekadosh Shemo. Sing that with me. Shochinad, Maharom, V'kadosh Shemo, v'chatuv ranenim, tzadikim b'Adonai. Try it. V'chatuv ranenu, tzadikim b'Adonai. La'yisharim nava tehila, b'fi sharim halal uvedivrei tzadikim titbarach uvilshon chasidim titromam uvekerev kedoshim titkadash lay 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 lay. Lai, 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 lai. And now we'll go into Eastern European. U'makalot revevot amacha beit Yisrael b'nir b'eshem chamakin v'dor shekein chovat kol ha'yitzurim levonecha Adonai levoteinu להודות, להלל, לשבח, לפאר, רומם, להדר, לברך, לעלה ולקהלס, על כל דברי שירות ותשבחות, דוד בן ישי, עבדך משיחך, ישתבח שמך, לעד מלכנו. לך גרו בשמיים ובארץ, לך נאמר אבותינו, שיר ושבחה הלל וזמרה, עוז וממשלה נצח גדולה וגבורה, תהילה ותפארת קדושה ומלכות, ברכות והודאות, מעתה ועד עולם. ברוך אתה אדוני, אל מלך גדול בתשבחות, אל ההודעות אדון הנפלאות, הבוכה בשירי זמרה, מלך אלכי העולמים. We continue 148. יתגדל ויתקדש שמי רבה בעולם דברי חירותי וימליך מלכותי בחיי חון וביומי חון ובחיי לכל בית ישראל בעגלה ובזמן קריב ואמרו אמן. יהי שמי רבה מבורך לעלם לעלמי עלמיה יתברך וישתבח ויתפאר ויתרומם ויתנשא ויתהדר ויתעלה ויתעלה שמי דקודשה בריחו לאלה מנחה בכתה ושירתה תושבחתה ונחמתה דמירן בעלמה ויאמרו Amen.
We rise together for the Baruch Hu. Easier for some than others, Hazad, yes.
I know. Here we go. Lai, 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 ya, la, lai, lai, ya, la, la, lai, ya, la, lai, 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 lai. Baruch Hu et Adonai Hamevorach. Ba, ya, la, la, lai, la, la, lai, lai, la, 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 lai. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam Yotzer or uvorech choshech Oseh shalom uvorech hakol. Ya la lai lai, ya la la lai, la la lai lai, la 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 lai, ay la lai lai, la lai, ya la la lai, ya la lai lai, la la lai lai.
You may be seated.
We'll continue with El Adon, which we'll find on page, the next one, 151. And now we'll do a melody from Zimbabwe. What you'll notice is just a little bit different. And I know, Todd, you'll know this. That there's some minor chords in Zimbabwe. Only major in East Africa. So, here we go. El Adon al kol hama'asim baruch u'mevorach b'fi kol neshama godlo v'tuvo malei olam dat u'tvuna sovavim oto המתגאה על חיות הקודש ונדר בכבוד על המרכבה זכות ומישור לפני חיס חסד ורחמים לפני כבודו טובים מאורות שברא אלוהינו יצרם בדעת בבינה ובהשכל כוח וגבורה נתן בהם להיות מושלים בקרב תבל מלאים זיו ומפיקים נוגה נאה זיום בכל העולם שמחים בצאתם וששים בבואם עושים באימה רצון קונם פאר וכבוד נותנים לשמו צולו ורינה לזכר מלכותו קרא לשמש ויזרח אור ראה והתקין צורת הלבנה שבח נותנים לו כל צבא מרום תפארת וגדולה שרפים ואופן וחיות הקודש. Also, waltz time. There's no waltz time in East Africa. Rabbi, it's okay if I make these references to musical nusach. Anyway, bottom of page 153, Or Chadash. We're back into Eastern European nusach. Here we go. ציון תאיר ונזכה כולנו מהרה לאורו אור חדש על ציון תאיר ונזכה כולנו מהרה לאורו אור חדש על ציון תאיר ונזכה כולנו מהרה לאורו אור חדש על ציון תאיר ונזכה כולנו מהרה לאורו יוצר המאורות. We continue now on the next page, 154, with Ahava Rabbah. Ahava Rabbah ahavtanu, Adonai Eloheinu, Kam lagedola vitera, Chamalta aleinu, Ahavinu malkeinu, Ba'avur avoteinu, Shebatchu v'cha, Avinu malkeinu. ותלמדם חוקי חיים, כן תכוננו למדנו, אבינו האב הרחמן, המרחם רחם עלינו, ותן בליבנו להבין ולהשכיל לשמוע, ללמוד וללמד, לשמור ולעשות, ולקיים את כל דברי תלמוד תורתך באהבה, והארנו בתורתך, ודבק לבנו במצוותיך, ויחד לבבינו לאהבה וליראה את שמך, ולא נבוש לעולם ועד, ולא נבוש לעולם ועד, כי בשם קודשך הגדול הנורא פתחנו, נגילה ונשמחה, נגילה ונשמחה בישועתך.
Page 154 in that final paragraph, those of us wearing a talit gathered together, the four fringes, symbol of unity of the Jewish people through commandments, through land of Israel. We're going to begin Vahavi Enu, and Bryce, you're going to come on up and get ready for the Shema. If you'll join us up here, come on.
Vahavi En L'Shalom Me'arva Kanfot Haaretz V'tolichenu Komemiyun Le'artzeinu Ki el Kovel Yeshuot Ata Uvanu Vacharta Mikol Am Velashon Vekeratanu L'Shimcha Hagadol L'Shimcha Hagadol Sela Ve'emet להודות לך ולייחדך באהבה. ברוך אתה אדוני הבוחר בעמו ישראל באהבה.
Page 155, close your eyes as Bryce will lead us in the Shema.
Shema Yisrael Adonai Eloheinu Adonai Echad Ve'ahavta et Adonai Elohecha B'chol levavecha u'b'chol nafshecha u'b'chol me'odecha v'hayu הדברים האלה אשר אנוכי מצווך היום בלבבך ושמעתם לבניך ודיברתם בם בשבתך בביתך ובלתך בדרך ובשופך ובקומך ובשרתם לעוד על ידיך והיו לטובות בעיניך ובשבתם על מזוזות ביתך ובשעריך.
We continue silently.
We continue with the second paragraph, 156. Vayomer Adonai el Moshe lemor daber el bnei Yisrael v'amarta alehem v'asu lahem tzitzit al kanfei vigdehem letorotam v'natanu al tzitzit hakanaf betil techelet V'haya lachem litzitzit uritem oto uschartem et kol mitzvot Adonai v'asitem otam v'lo taturu acharei levavachem v'acharei einechem Asher atem zonim acharehem leman tizkeru v'asitem et kol mitzvotai v'item kedoshim lelohechem ani Adonai Elohechem asher hotzeiti etchem me'eretz Mitzrayim Lihiyot lachem lelohim ani Adonai Elohech Adonai Elohechem Emet. We continue on 157, the line that starts with Lador Vador with the red arrow. We'll sing that because Lador Vador in each generation we declare that the words that we said are emet, are truth. Okay, and then we'll sing, and then we'll get to the next page. We'll sing Micha Mocha, and we'll go from there. Ledor vador, dor vador, ukayam ushemo kayam, bechiso nachon, umalchuto bemunato, laad kayamet. Ledor vador, ukayam ushmo kayam, bechiso nachon, umalchuto be'emunato la'ad kayamet. Yai dai dai ya da dai da 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 dai. Ai dai dai da 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 da. Dai 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 ya da 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 dai. Ai dai dai da 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 dai. Ai dai 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 ya da 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 dai 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 dai. Ai dai 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 dai. Yai dai 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 da 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 dai 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 da 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 da. Micha mocha, micha mocha, va'elim Adonai. Micha mocha, הנדר בקודש, נורא תהילות, או ספל, נורא תהילות, או ספל, שיר חדשה, שבחו גאולי. על שפת הים יחד כולם הודו והמלכו ואמרו אדוני ימלוך לעולם ועד I lie, lie, la 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 lie. I lie, 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 lie.
Rise together.
Sur Yisrael, kuma be'ezrat Yisrael, ufedechinu mecha Yehuda ve'Yisrael. Go aleinu Adonai tzivot shemo, Kedosh Yisrael, Baruch atah Adonai God
Hail the Amidah, page 159. Bryce is going to help lead us. We'll join along with him, okay? Here we go. Bryce, go ahead.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu ve'Elohei Avoteinu Elohei Abraham Elohei Yitzhak ve'Elohei Yaakov Elohei Sarah Elohei Rivka Elohei Rachel Elohei Leah Ha'el Hagadol Ha'gibor V'Hanara El Elyon Gomel Hasadim Tovim Mekonei Hakol V'Zocher Chastei Avo U'Mevigo Eli B'Nehem Lemon Shemo Be'ahava Lehozer U'Kein Moshiach U'Magen Baruch atah Adonai Magen Avraham Uvoked Sarah Atah Gibor Le'olam Adonai Mehayim Etim Atah Rav Lehoshia Mori Atah Mechakil Hayim Behesed Mechayim Etim Berachamim Rabim Somen Novlim Verofei Holy Umatir Asurim Umekayem Emunato Livshenei Afar Michamelcha Ba'agivurot Umidomelach Melech Meimi Umekayem Umatzmi Yeshua Ne'eman atah Hayot Meitim Baruch atah Adonai Mehayeh HaMeitim
Mekadesh Allah, Kishmel Shalom, Kakatu B'Neacha, V'Karasel Zehema.
Kadesh et Shimcha ba'olam Kashem shemakdishim oto B'shmei maharon Ka'katuv Yad Nevi'echa V'kara מחכים אנחנו לך, מתי תמלוך לציון בקרוב בימינו, בקרוב בימינו, לעולם ועד תשכון. תתקדש בתוך ירושלים, לדור ודור, לדור ודור, ונצח נצחים. בעינינו תראנה, תראנה מלכותך, כדבר האמור בשירי עוזך. בעינינו תראנה, תראנה מלכותך, כדבר האמור בשירי עוזך. על ידי דוד, על ידי דוד, על ידי דוד, משיח צדקך. ימלוך אדוני לעולם, אלוהי ציון, לדור ודור, הללויה, לדור ודור. נגיד גודלך ולנצח נצחים, קדושתך נקדיש, ושבחך אלוהינו מפינו לא ימוש לעולם ועד. כי המלך גדול וקדוש אתה, ברוך אתה אדוני האל הקדוש.
We continue silently, Hebrew or English, or if you prefer, the private prayers and meditations of your heart.
שים שלום, טובה וברכה, חן וחסד ורחמים עלינו ועל כל ישראל עמך. שים שלום, טובה וברכה, חן וחסד ורחמים עלינו ועל כל ישראל עמך. ברכנו אבינו כולנו, כי אחד באור פניך, כי באור פניך נתת לנו, אדוני אלוהינו. איי 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 איי, שים שלום טובה וברכה, חן וחסד ורחמים עלינו ועל כל ישראל עמך. כי ביור תואר חיים ואהבת חסד וצדקה וברכה ורחמים וחיים ושלום. איי 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 איי, שים שלום טובה וברכה, חן וחסד ורחמים עלינו ועל כל ישראל עמך. וטוב בעיניך לברך את עמך ישראל בכל עת ובכל שעה בשלומך. איי 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 איי, שים שלום טובה וברכה, חן וחסד ורחמים עלינו ועל כל ישראל עמך.
Page 167, Kaddish Shalem.
יגדל ויגדש שמי רבה, ואומר דברי חילותי, וימליך מלכותי בחייכון ובימיכון וחיי כל בית ישראל, בעגלה ובזמן קריב יאמרו אמן. יש רבה מבורך, לעלם לעל נעמיה יתברך וישתבח ויתפאר ותרומם ויתנשא ויתהדר ויתעלה ויתעלה, שמי דקודשה בריחו לעילוי מן כל ברכתה ושירתה ותשבחתה ונחמתה ואמרן בעלמה ויאמרו אמן. תתקבל צלותון וברכות לכל בית ישראל קודום ובשמיה ויאמרו אמן. יהי שלום רבה מן שמיה וחיים עלינו ועל כל ישראל ויאמרו אמן. עושה שלום במרמיו הוא יעשה שלום עלינו ועל כל ישראל ויאמרו amen.
Seder Hotza'at Torah, we take out the Torah, the page 168. If you've been honored with the opening of the Ark, come on forward. Want to bring the rest of the family with you, or whoever else wants to come up with you? No one else wants to come. Come on with that. Come on. He needs help. It's no good with one door. All right, you're whatever. And if you are serving as Baal Torah today, we invite you to come up as well. Beginning at the top of the page, we'll wait for the ark to be open. Just let's rise together as the ark is open. Page 168.
In kamocha ba'elohim Adonai v'en k'ma'asecha malchutecha malchut kol olamim u'memshaltecha b'chol dor v'dor. Adonai melech, Adonai malach, Adonai yimloch la'olam va'ed, Adonai oz le'amo yiten, Adonai yivarech et amo v'shalom. Harachamim eitiva v'rtzonecha et Zion, tivanei chomot Yerushalayim, tivanei chomot Yerushalayim, kirecha levad batachnu, melech eram v'nisa Adon olamim. Vayehi binso Aaron, vayomer Moshe,
On page 169, on the right-hand side, on the very bottom, a prayer of gratitude. We should all be feeling a sense of gratitude on this July 4th weekend. Let's read together this paragraph, please. I thank you, Adonai, for knowing me, for granting me a measure of fullness, a fulfillment of small hopes and many yearnings. Thank you for the gift of this day. May the gratitude in my heart and the sense of fullness that I feel now continue to sustain me, taking root in my soul, even as I continue to dream and pray. It is good to thank you, Adonai, to sing to your name, transcendent God. Give me strength to see the gift in each day that you grant. We continue bottom of page 170.
Me'anarachetz v'lishmei kadisha kadisha yakira na'ema tushbechan me'anarachetz v'lishmei kadisha kadisha yakira na'ema tushbechan Yehrava Kodama Tiftach Libi V'oraita Be'anarachet V'lishmei Kadisha Kadisha Yakira Na'ema Tushbechan V'tashlim Misho'alina Delibi V'liba Dechol Amach Yisrael Be'anarachet V'lishmei Kadisha Kadisha Yakira Na'ema Tushbechan Letavu L'chaim V'lishlam
The Torah is taking out and the ark closed, top of page 171, Shema.
Shema Yisrael Adonai Eloheinu Adonai Echad
Shema Yisrael Adonai Eloheinu Adonai
Echad Eloheinu Gadol Adonenu Kadosh Shemo Gadol Adonai iti uneramema Shemo Yachadav Ramemu Adonai Eloheinu V'ishtachavu Le'ar Kosho Ramemu Adonai Eloheinu V'ishtachavu Le'ar Kosho Ki Kadosh Adonai Eloheinu Ramemu Ki Kadosh Adonai
So nice to share with people coming back to synagogue, right? Some new people that are part of the congregation as well. It's nice to see you. Some even coming from Brooklyn, right? Are you in Brooklyn anymore or no? Cleveland. I can't keep track of you, right? The Alperts. from Brooklyn to Cleveland to who knows where next. When you've got kids all over, you just keep following them. That's it, right? Until they throw you out. It's so nice to be able to share on this Shabbat. I was teaching this week my weekly Torah class, and it continues throughout the year, whether I'm here or not. I teach it like 90% of the time, if not rabbinic interns and others who are amazing teachers. But this past week, a great question was asked, with all of the kvetching and everything going on in the wandering of the Israelites, is there anything good that happens? Right? It's like a great question. Like, is there anything good that really happens? And I began thinking about not necessarily that there are good things that happen, but an attempt to show good people who, by the way, are trying to act out goodness in the face of temptation and of society, people around them that are not doing so good. So I want you to think about, you probably can think of a couple of examples, and then we'll look at our portion as well. If you have been honored with the first Aliyah, we'd like to have you come forward, and then each one, Alpert, look at you, like number one. Of course, there you go, with all the respect. If I know you were just coming from Cleveland, we would give you a 3. So it's but if you have number 2, you can come up and sit in the front row if you're going to be doing the blessings for number 2. And if you are doing the Torah reading, it's always great when you can be up here to be prepared. The Torah reading is going to begin where we're going to start today, page 869, chapter 17, verse 25. And if you're at home and you don't have our Eitz Chaim and the page numbers there, you can follow in any biblical text, any Bible that you have, or Torah, the book of Numbers, chapter 17, beginning verse 25.
Okay, good. Baruch Shenatan Torah Lamo Yisrael B'Kedushato. V'atem Elokim Baruchem Chaim Kulchem Hayom.
Baruch Hu et Adonai Hamborach.
Baruch Adonai Hamborach Le'olam Vahed.
Baruch Adonai Hamborach Le'olam Vahed. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher bachar banu mikol ha'amim v'natan lanu et Torato. Baruch atah Adonai noten haTorah.
Amen. Vayomer Adonai el Moshe Hashev et metei Aharon lifnei ha'edut lemishmeret leod livnei Mary utechal tulunotam me'alai v'lo yamutu vayas Moshe ka'asher tziva Adonai oto kein asa vayomeru b'nei Yisrael el Moshe lemor chen gavanu avadnu kulanu avadnu Kol hakarev el mishkan Adonai yamut v'im tamnu ligvoa vayomer Adonai el Aharon ata uvanecha uved avicha itach tis'u et avon hamikdash v'ata uvanecha itach tis'u et avon kehunatchem וגם את אחיך מטה לוי שבט אביך הקרב איתך וילבו עליך ישרתוך ואתה ובניך איתך לפני אוכל העדות ושמרו משמרתך ומשמרת כל האוכל אך אל כלי המקדש ואל המזבח לא יקרבו ולא ימותו גם הם גם אתם ונלוו עליך ושמרו את משמרת אוהל מועד לכל עבודת האוכל וזר לא יקרב עליהם ושמרתם את משמרת הקודש ואת משמרת המזבח, ולא יהיה עוד קצב על בני ישראל. ואני, הנה לקחתי את אחיכם הלוויים מתוך בני ישראל, לכם מתנה נתונים לאדוני לעבוד את עבודת אוהל מועד, ואתה ובניך איתך תשמרו את כהונתכם לכל דבר המזבח ולמבית הפרוכת ועבודתם עבודת מתנה, אתן את כהונתכם וחזר הקרב יומת.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, asher natan lanu Torat emet, v'chayei olam nata b'tochenu. Baruch atah Adonai noten haTorah.
Is this your first time back or no? You've been since the pandemic. You've been here.
Well, I was supposed to be at the wedding.
I mean, in terms of, right, we hope, but for Shabbat, for an Aliyah.
Yeah.
How'd you like to do Shechianu? Just like acknowledge the sacred moment of having Alperts back here in our congregation. Go ahead.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, shechianu v'kiyamanu v'yadu lazman hazeh.
Amen. Nice to have you. By the way, we do it for anybody who's coming up in terms of like they haven't had an Aliyah during in the last 2 years, and to acknowledge that sacred moment. So nice to have you. Give you a hug after services. Hold on. Wait, you can go down. We're just, yeah. We're not staying up. We're not staying up with us. Other people. We're minimizing. Did anybody think of examples in these stories of wandering, right? Remember, they got to the land of Israel. They should have been going in, right? Like in the second year. They hadn't even been there full 2 years. They're told they can't go into the land in Shlach Lecha. And now, right, there's lots of kvetching. Is there anything that seems like a redeemable story that you know of in these wanderings? Yeah, Yeah, Michelle? Are we making one up? What's there? Do you imagine what's happening? Or Midrash? You're far away from things. I think it's a good point, by the way. If you think about what you have to be grateful for you could do, there's not much. I mean, the fact is they're willing to, or they have to wander, and whenever the cloud of God stops, they stop, and then as soon as, like, they have no idea when it gets up to go, they're going with it. They have manna every morning. I mean, there's challenges. We're going to look at a couple sections in here that the rabbis really grab onto. So if you will, turn to page 860 with me. Page 860. And this is the beginning of the story of Korach that those of you who have studied know. Right, this is chapter 16. Now Korach, I want you to follow all the characters that are here. Now Korach, son of Yitzhar, son of Kohath, son of Levi, betook himself, along with Datan and Abiram, sons of Eliab, and On, son of Pelet, descendants of Reuben, to rise up against Moses, together with 250 Israelites, chieftains of the community, chosen the assembly, men of repute. So those are the people who start this rebellion. Right? A number of different parties to it. Now, turn, if you will, to the page 864. You can keep your fingers on 860 if you want, for reference. Verse 25 towards the top, 864. Moses rose up and went to Datan and Abiram, the elders of Israel, following him. Right? There's somebody missing here. Right? Who's missing from the first story? On. Where's On? We don't hear about On again. So there's a great Midrash. All right? It's a wonderful Midrash that I want to share with you. That talks about, the idea is, how are people in terms of doing good? What inspires people? And this is the case of where a good spouse is someone that you need to listen to and can change your life. Right? So here's the Midrash. This is, by the way, from the Talmud. The let me begin. right? After she saw that her husband On, had joined Korach and his company, she told her husband, "What will you gain from this quarrel? Now Moses is the teacher and you are the pupil. And if your rebellion succeeds and Korach replaces Moses once again, he will be the teacher and you will be the pupil. What will you gain from this revolt?" On told his wife, "What can I do? I took counsel with them. I swore to them that I would be with them in all." His wife told him, "For all the community are holy. I know that all the community are holy, and they are scrupulous in matters of modesty. Sit, and I will save you." What did she do? She gave him wine to drink and intoxicated him and laid him down inside the tent. The woman sat at the entrance of the tent, and she loosened her hair as if she were bathing so that nobody would come into their tent. Whoever came to call on On saw her and went back, right? Even if they were looking for him, you can't violate the modesty of a woman, right? When On awakened, Korach and his company had already been swallowed up in the bowels of the earth. The 250 notables had been burnt, and On, the son of Pelet, was saved from being swallowed up alive and from being burnt to death. Michelle, you want to imagine like rabbinic imagination? Right? Isn't that something? I love that story about, and by the way, you'll find this in terms of the role of women often, sometimes in the Torah and sometimes in Midrash, especially, Michelle, that they are the ones who know what really should be happening. By the way, classic example, Rebecca, who's told about that Jacob will receive the blessing rather than Esau, right? And Isaac isn't told about it. Women have this remarkable role, but even the role of a good spouse to keep us out of trouble. So here's like one example of somebody who didn't follow in terms of evil, but here because he had a good spouse. Now, when they get punished, all right, let's go to page 865, the very top, verse 31. Scarcely had he finished talking, all right, had he finished talking, speaking all these words, when the ground under them burst asunder, and the earth opened its mouth and swallowed them up with their houses. All Korach's people, all their possessions, they went down alive into Sheol with all that belonged to them. The earth closed over them. They vanished from the midst of all the congregation. All right? So, who actually died at this moment? I want you to turn to page 921. Page 921, right? They're going to retell the story here. Look at verse 10 on page 921, about halfway down there. Whereupon the earth opened its mouth and swallowed them up with Korach when that band died. When the fire consumed 250 men, and they became an example. The sons of Korach, however, did not die. From the first reading, didn't you assume that his children died? Right? All his company, everybody. Korach's sons, according to this, don't die. Now, you would know this probably because if you were a cantor and you knew liturgy well, right, Chazan? Because we have...
He did some writing later on.
We have psalms from the B'nai Korach, from the children of Korach. Especially, I think it's Monday morning. I think it's, right, Yom Sheni. Right, B'nai Korach. Yeah. And his children, actually... they become fairly prominent within the Jewish people, recognized in Psalms. So how is it that his sons aren't punished as well if they were part of this? So the rabbis, again, want to imagine there's a couple possibilities, right? For the rabbis, they say that the children of Korach were influenced by Moses. They actually saw goodness. Right? They knew and understood and were inspired by him, and therefore when it came time to the actual revolt there, that they took themselves out of the revolt. And that they, again, later on, dedicate themselves to holy lives, and they are recognized as part of the Levites, and they are part of it. Another possibility, by the way, this is mine, is that the sons of Korach actually knew the true Korach. Right? What he professed to be about in public, right, was really not what he was about. And that's what the rabbis talk about. He was not sincere. It was not genuine. It was all about himself, right? And his son saw what he was like behind the scenes, that he really didn't care about others, that he really didn't care about the ultimate good. It was just about ultimately his own narcissism and about his own success. It's amazing. I tried, and I was inspired by the Torah study this past week. What is the Torah in these stories trying to teach us? And I think part of it is, later on we're going to read, and we have it earlier, do not go after the majority towards evil. Right? They're worried, the rabbis, always that we're going to be influenced by the culture around us. Right? And that we're not going to be able to stand up for what we believe is right, or in a group of people to be able to stand up for what is right. And here, I believe that there are these stories trying to give examples of where you have to have courage, sometimes wisdom, sometimes a good spouse, be able to do what is right in the end. By the way, those of you who want to join the Torah study classes every Thursday at 12, you can log on through the Zoom from online. We have some great Torah discussion. You don't have to be able to read Hebrew or to not know a lot of Torah, everybody at their own level. We're going to continue with the Torah reading right now with the second Aliyah, page 871, chapter 8. That's Numbers chapter 18, verse 8. Verse 8.
Ya'amadu. Yitzchak ben Abraham ve'Rasia Shoshana bat Yehuda. Sheni.
Baruch Adonai Hamvorah.
Baruch Adonai Hamavarach L'olam Va'ed.
Baruch Adonai Hamvorach Le'olam Va'ed. Baruch Atah Adonai Eloheinu Melech HaOlam Asher Bacharbanu Mikol Ha'amim V'natan Lanu Et Torato. Baruch Atah Adonai Noten HaTorah.
Amen. Vayedaber Adonai el Aharon, vani hine natati lecha et mishmeret rumotai lechol kodshei b'nei Yisrael lecha natatim lemoshecha ulevanecha lechok olam. זה יהיה לך מקודש הקדשים מן האיש כל קורבנם לכל מנחתם ולכל חטאתם ולכל אשמם אשר ישיבו לי קודש קדשים לך ולבניך בקודש הקדשים תאכלנו כל זכר יאכל אותו קודש יהיה לך.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher natan lanu Torah emet v'chaye olam notan b'tochenu. Baruch atah Adonai noten haTorah.
Amen. All right, Paulette and Chris, by the way, newer members of the synagogue, you'll walk up and say hello to them after services and give them a warm Aliyah welcome to make sure. We're going to continue with the third Aliyah. You can go down, page 871 still, verse 11.
Ya'amod Yaakov ben Pesach v'Chana shlishi.
Baruch Adonai Hamvorah.
Baruch Adonai Hamvorach L'olam Va'ed.
Baruch Atah Adonai Eloheinu Melech HaOlam Asher B'Habanu Mikol Ha'amim V'Natan Lanu Et Torato. Baruch Atah Adonai Noten HaTorah.
Amen.
Amen.
tanam lechol tenupot b'nei Yisrael lecha netatim uvanecha v'livotecha itcha lecha kolam kol tahor b'veitecha yochal oto kol chelev yitzchar v'chol chelev tirosh v'dagal reshitam asher yitanu ladonai lechanetatim bikuresh kol asher ba'artzam asher aviu ladonai lecha yihyeh kol tahor b'veitecha yochalenu.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, asher tana lanu Torah emeh, v'halayim notat b'chainu, Baruch atah Adonai noten haTorah.
Amen. The fourth Aliyah continues, page 872, verse 14.
Ya'amod. I had your name a minute ago. Just tell me again. Tell me your name again. Yechiel? Yechiel. Ben Esther. Revi'i.
Baruch et Adonai Barak.
Baruch Adonai Baruch Leolam Vayed.
Baruch Adonai Barak Leolam Vayed. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher bahar banu mikol haomim ve'natan lanu et Torato. Baruch Adonai Adonai noten haTorah.
Amen. Kol harim be'Yisrael lecha yeh kol peter rehem lekol basar asher yakrivu ladonai ba'adam uva behemah yelak ahahak padoho tifdehet Bekor ha'adam ve'ehet bekor ha'behema ha'temeah ha'tifdehe ufduyav mi ben hodesh tifdehe be'arkeha kehesef ha'meshet shekalihim be'shekel ha'kodesh esrim Gerahahu ahag bekor shohor o bekor kesev o bekor ehes lotif dehe kodesh hem etam mahar tizro Hok al hamis beak ve'et hal baham tak tihir ishehehe lereak nichoak ladonai ufsaraham yihielak ka'azehe hatenufaha ukshok hayamihim lechayieh. Kohohoho teru mohot hakodashim asher yarimu b'nei Yisrael Adonai natati lecha uvanecha velivnotecha itecha lehok olam barid melech olam hiv lifnei Adonai lecha uzar echa itachak Vayom ner Adonai al aharohom be'orzom lohotin chahol ve'helek lo yoli yelech ha betocham anihi halkecha ve'nachalatecha betoh b'nei Yisrael.
Thank you. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher natan lanu Torah emet v'hayeh olam nata batakenu Baruch atah Adonai noten haTorah.
Amen. Right.
Sorry.
Moment for
The earth
prayers of
opened up.
strength and healing and comfort. So for whether it's for you, for a loved one, for anybody you know, you bring them to mind. We join together in Misha Berach.
Misheberach Avoteinu Mikor habracha Le'imotenu. May the source of strength bless the ones before us. Help us find the courage to make our lives a blessing, and let us say Amen.
We offer blessings of healing and strength for Elon Shayo, Dina bat Yocheved, Chaim ben Sarah, Reuven ben Malka, Hannah bat Fego, Rachel Sarah bat Leah, Hinda bat Irene, Tirsa bat Abraham bat Sarah, Esther bat Miriam, Chaya Gabriela bat Galia, Veronica Lopez, Magdalena Vartan, Shoshana bat Nechama, Nechama bat Yisrael, Shmuel Aron ben Hortense, Reuven ben Nel, Eliezer Hanuch ben Aviva, Karen Nelson, Mark DeVore, Stuart Groton, Hannah Rezel bat Devora, Esther Yudit Hannah bat Pesa, Shoshana bat Raphael, Shoshana Moshe ben Chaya, Tova bat Pinchas Tova, Kayla Hannah bat Chaya Rivka, Herschel Shmuel ben Hindel, Menachem Yoshua ben Sarah, Shimon Tzvi ben Basia, Yogev Sender ben Sarah, Shulamit bat Malka, Sue Kassman, Tanji Spencer, Jerry Klinitsky, Romy bat Sarah, Shira Yoel, Abraham Bornfeld, and Shira bat Sarah.
Misheberach Imotenu Mikor habracha Lavotenu. Bless those in need of healing with refuah shlema, the renewal of body, the renewal of spirit, and let us say Amen.
The Torah reading continues, page 873, verse 21.
Ya'amdu. Where is it? Yogiv, Sender, Ben Abraham Basara, Lego Miriam, Chaim Veriva. Chamishi,
Baruch Hu et Adonai Hamvorach. Baruch Adonai Hamvorach Le'olam Va'ed. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam. Asher bachar banu mikol ha'amim. V'natan lanu et Torato. Baruch atah Adonai noten ha'Torah.
Amen.
Amen. V'livnei Levihi, hine natati kol ma'aser b'Yisrael l'nachala chelef avodatam asher heim uvdihim et avodat ohel moed v'lo yikrevu od b'nei Yisrael el ohel moed ased chet lamut v'avad halevihi hu et avodat ohel moed v'heim yitzuhu avonam Chukat olam l'dorotechem uvetoch b'nei Yisrael lo yinchalu nachalaha ki et masar b'nei Yisrael asher yarimu l'Adonai trumaha natati la'levim l'nachala al ken amarti lahem betoch b'nei Yisrael lo yinchalu nachalaha.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, asher natan lanu Torah emet, v'chayei olam nata v'tochenu. Baruch atah Adonai noten ha'Torah.
Alexander, you want to recite Gomel? For what occasion you want to recite Gomel? Just
Both of them.
sorry?
I said both
For
of
just
them.
recovery. I mean, not everybody knows. I just wanted you.
Yeah.
Okay, so why don't you recite the words, then we'll respond.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, hagomel hayabim v'hayabim tovim.
Shagamalnu.
Shagamalenu
Kol tov. Misha gamalchem kol tov. Hu gamalchem kol tov. Selam. May you both always have health and goodness with family and community. And we all say, Amen. The Torah reading is going to continue now with the 6th Aliyah, page 873, verse 25.
Ya'amadu Sinai ben Moshe ufarangis ubat Sheva bat Yaakov v'pari Shishi.
Baruch Hu et Adonai Hamorach.
Baruch Adonai Avrach l'olam va'ed.
Baruch Adonai Hamorach le'olam va'ed. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher bahar banu mikol ha'amim v'natan lanu et Torato. Baruch atah Adonai noten ha'Torah.
Amen. Vayedaber Adonai el Moshe lemor, v'el haleviim tedaber, v'amarta aleihem, ki tikhu, me'et b'nei Yisrael et hama'aser asher natati lachem, me'itam b'nachalatchem, v'harimotam mimenu trumat Adonai, me'aser min hama'aser, ונחשב לכם תרומתכם כדגן מן הגורן וחמליה מן היקב, כן תרימו גם אתם תרומת אדוני מכל מסרותיכם אשר תיקחו מאת בני ישראל, ונתת ממנו את תרומת אדוני לאהרון הכהן מכל מתנתיכם תרימו את כל תרומת אדוני mikol chelbo et mikdesho mimenu.
Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam, asher natan lanu Torat emet, v'haye olam nata betochenu. Baruch atah Adonai, noten haTorah.
Amen. Shikoach, the seventh Aliyah continues, page 874, verse 30. Come on, Todd. There you go.
Ya'amod. Yasol Nachum. Yosel Nachum. La'aliyah Shvi.
Baruch Hu et Adonai Hamborach.
Baruch Adonai Baruch L'olam Va'ed.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher baruch banu michol ha'amim v'natan lanu et Torato. Baruch atah Adonai noten haTorah.
Amen. V'amarta aleichem v'charimchem et chelbo mimenu v'nechshav l'levim kituvot goren v'kituvot Yaakov v'achaltem oto b'chol makom otam uveitchem ki zacharhu lachem chelev thank you. Chelev avodatchem ve'ochel moed v'lo tisu alav chet v'charimchem et chelbo mimenu ve'et kodshei b'nei Yisrael lo techalalu ve'lo tamutu.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher natan lanu Torah emet v'hayu olam nata b'tochenu. Baruch atah Adonai noten haTorah.
If you've been honored with Hagban Glila, we invite you to come forward. Wish a Yasher Koach to our Torah readers, to Bob Epstein, Michelle Hoish, Natalie Rosenthal, Roy Chestnut, David Bruskin. To all of you, Yasher Koach. We rise. Who's doing?
Okay.
If you've been honored, if you have a little note that was given to you for lifting and dressing the Torah.
Na la'amod lahagvahat haTorah v'liglilat haTorah. V'zot haTorah asher sam Moshe lifnei b'nei Yisrael al pi Adonai b'yad Moshe.
You may be seated. So 4th of July, woo! There you go. All right. You know, the history of Jews in America is really quite exceptional. I love the earliest history, by the way. There were, prior to 1654 is the monumental date, by the way, in terms of a small group of Jews coming, 23 who came by boat. Prior to that, there's a record of a handful that were here in the North American continent who were by and large traders, right, who came over and they wanted to find, a better economic life, and very separated from their communities. They came as individuals. 1654, and it's interesting, you should understand why. They left Recife, Brazil. What language do they speak in Brazil? Portuguese. So before it became a Portuguese colony, it was a Dutch colony. In 1654, Portuguese follow. They take control of Recife and Brazil. And what is Spain and Portugal notorious for in those 15th, 16th centuries? Was the Inquisition. And so they wanted to escape that. And so, by the way, history isn't quite sure whether they intended to land in what was then New Amsterdam. So by the way, this is important because it's a Dutch colony. And so it was safe for them. So they arrived 1654. Peter Stuyvesant, who's the governor of the territory, doesn't want them. And so he petitions, by the way, it was run, New Amsterdam, it was actually New Netherlands, which I didn't know this, I did more reading. Do you know that the territory was called New Netherland? That included New Amsterdam, and that was a Dutch, you knew this, Adam, right? So, and who governed it? It wasn't a country, it was Dutch West Indies Company. It was the trading company, of which, by the way, had on its board Jews. And so when Peter Stuyvesant made a request to expel the Jews, right, the board of directors said, sorry, you have to keep them. His caveat to all this was that they couldn't be a burden on society, that they had to take care of their own. And that became part of, by the way, a tradition in America of having Jewish institutions that would take care of Jews, because the society at large was not going to take responsibility for that. And in fact, until the 1800s, Sephardic Jews who came, that was the first group and the majority until the 1800s, you had to pay to be part of the Jewish community. And you did not have an option whether to voluntarily be part of the Jewish community or not. So the small group of Jews that are here begin to grow. By 1776, there's only about 1,500 Jews here, by the way, fighting on both sides of the rebellion for the patriots and those who wanted to fight on behalf of the crown. Early 1800s, some of you may know this. Any of you have family that came to America in the 1820s, 1840s, anywhere in there? No, by and large, those, okay, who does? Yeah, you did, but they weren't, they were here. You've been a long timer, all right? And 1820, 1840, by the way, those are what we call the Yekka Jews, right? Those are the Jews from Germany who were seeking, by the way, a better life. Are you a Yekka? All right? Did your family come at that time or later? They could have come later. Your family came, yeah. So those are the Jews who came, by the way, wanting economic, right? They wanted economic viability and improvement in their life. Industrial revolution is taking place. By the way, there's separate, I love American history, there's separate waves of immigration from Ireland and Germany. If you don't know at what point, 18th century, 17th century, half of Ireland actually left the population and came to America. Right, as a result of the potato famine and everything else that happened. It's amazing. And so the German Jews are here, and they're the ones who go into commerce. Those are the German Jews, by the way, who often change their names in order to fit into the American culture. And so, as it happens, there's a great story about rabbis in America as well, is that there were rabbis functioning in America, but not ordained rabbis. Any of you grew up in a synagogue, this would have been like 50, 60 years ago, in which there was somebody on staff that was referred to as reverend? You did, yes, and remember you did as well. Right? I remember Valley Beth Shalom, remember the way that it had reverend. And it was an honorific title given to non-rabbis who functioned in a rabbinic capacity. And they were viewed as ministers and actually had exemption from fighting and other things, but they weren't ordained rabbis. The first ordained rabbi comes in 1840, Rabbi Weiss from Germany. And he's sent, by the way, by the German community, because lots of German Jews who have come to America, and they say they need a chief rabbi. So go. He comes to America, and American German Jews don't want a chief rabbi. They say thank you, but no thank you. He actually couldn't find a job. Right? And he wrote about the sad state of Jewish life in America. And so the next rabbi to come, we believe the second one is Stephen Weiss. Why am I saying Stephen? What's his name? Sorry? Isaac Mayer Weiss. Right, thank you, who comes a couple years later, and he brings the reform movement from Germany to America, and that starts to grow. HUC, JIR, the first, right, where's the first seminary in America? In Cincinnati, and by the way, those who know a little bit about what's happening just closed their doors as a seminary, which for the reform movement was really tragic. And so German Jews become the dominant, right, if you will, culture. By the way, Sephardic Jews look down on the German Jews. Sephardic Jews who came here were a very elite class, very successful. When the German Jews came, they were like 2.5 million Jews from 250,000. So that becomes the dominant culture. And Rabbi Shibu will tell you that just as the German Jews were looked down by the Sephardic Jews, when the shtetl Jews came of Eastern Europe, they were looked down upon by the German Jews who were here already. Right? Because they were sophisticated. They knew, right? They were fitting into America. They were successful by then. And so they as well looked down. By the way, probably had a lot to do with creating the conservative movement, providing a place for the Eastern European Jews to find traditional Judaism here in America. And so Jewish life grows. There's very little immigration from 1924 through the Holocaust. Post-Holocaust, of course, there are going to be some who make their way over to America. The next big wave of immigration to America Jewish is, Meryl, you fought for this, for the Soviet Jew, right? Soviet Jews who made their way here. And then, of course, my friends from Iran, 1979, right? The overthrow of the Iranian government and the revolution, and Iranian Jews that make their way here. And we've been blessed. We are really, the American Jewish community now is really a hodgepodge of so many different cultures, of which we're so blessed to have. And each one has had their impact into American Jewish life. No matter what struggles we have with our country, no matter what areas that we want and believe that we as a country can be better, Jews, even with increasing anti-Semitism, are always grateful for the blessings of what we have here, the opportunities that we have here, and the obligation to work to make this a better country. That's I personally love this Jewish philosophy that we have here in America. We're going to celebrate 4th of July and Jews in America. We're going to sing America the Beautiful.
Yes, page 453.
So if you're back in the prayer book, if you would, page 453 is towards the very, very end. And because this feels patriotic, I know you're going to feel like you want to stand up. So why don't we just stand up, those of you with good knees or bad knees, whatever you have. You just bring them along. Page 453 in the middle.
Oh, beautiful for spacious skies, for amber waves of grain, for purple mountains' majesties, above the fruited plain. America, America, God shed her grace on thee, and crowned thy good with peoplehood, from sea to shining sea.
You may be seated. Page 178. We've offered blessings and gratitude. As Americans, we're going to offer prayer for the state of Israel. Page 178, we begin Avinu Shabashamayim.
Avinu Shabashamayim, Zur Yisrael v'goalo, Barechet Medinat Yisrael, Reshit Smichat Geulateinu. Avinu Shabashamayim, Zur Yisrael v'goalo, Barechet Medinat Yisrael, Reshit Smichat Geulateinu.
Let's read together in the English. Avinu Shabashamayim, stronghold and redeemer of the people Israel. Bless the state of Israel. It may be the beginning of our redemption. Shield it with your love. Spread over it the shelter of your peace. Guide its leaders and advisors with your light and your truth. Help them with your good counsel. Strengthen the hands of those who defend our holy land. Deliver them. crown their efforts with triumph. Bless the land with peace and its inhabitants with lasting joy, and let us say, Amen.
Avinu Shebashamayim, Sur Yisrael Go'alo, Barech et Medinat Yisrael, Reshit Tzmichat Ge'ulateinu.
Page 181, Ashrei.
Ashrei Yoshvei Beitecha, O Jehalelucha Selah.
Ashrei Am Shekacha Loho, Ashrei Am Shadonai Elohai.
תהילת אדוני ידבר פי, ויברך כבוד השם קודשו לעולם ועד, ואנחנו נברך יה, מעתה ועד עולם.
Hallelujah. We rise, please, as we're going to return the Torah to the Ark. Roy's going to walk around with it. Page 183, we continue Seder Ha'achnasat HaTorah.
Lai, 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 Etz Chaim hi למחזיקים בה וצורכיה מאושר דרכיה דרכי נועם וכל נתיבותיה שלום השיבנו אדוני אליך ונשובה חדש ימינו כקדם השיבנו אדוני אליך ונשובה חדש ימינו כקדם יאי יאי לי 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 יאי לי 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 לי
We're going to remain standing for the Musaf portion of our service. And whether you are reciting the Amidah, which you'll find page 185, or you just want to find your own personal space of reflection and meditation, this is your moment of oneness, of prayer. We begin our Musaf service silently.
עושה שלום במרומה, הוא יעשה שלום עלינו ועל כל ישראל ועל כל יושבי תבל, תבל עושה שלום במרומה, הוא יעשה שלום עלינו ועל כל ישראל ועל כל יושבי תבל,
Page 203, Kaddish Shalom.
יתגדל ויקדש שמי רבה,
אמן.
ויאמר דברי חירותי וימליך מלכותי בחיי חול וימי חול וחיי כל בית ישראל, בגלו בזמן קריב ויאמרו אמן. יהי שמי רבה מבורך, לעולם לעלמי עלמיה יתברך. יתברך וישתבח ויתפאר ויתרומם וינשא ויתהדר ויתעלה ויתהלל שמי דקדושה ריחו לעילא מכל ברכתה ושירתה תשבחתה ונחמתה דמרם עמל ויאמרו אמן. תתקבל צלותון ובטחון בכל בית ישראל קודום ובהודי ושמיה ויאמרו אמן. יהי שלום רבה מן שמיה וחיים עלינו ועל כל ישראל ויאמרו אמן. יעשה שלום במרומיו, יעשה שלום עלינו ועל כל ישראל ויאמרו amen.
We rise together, 205 for Aleinu.
עלינו לשבח לאדון הכל, לתת גדולה ליוצר בראשית, שלא עשנו כגויי הארצות ולא שמנו כמשפחות האדמה, שלא שם חלקנו כהם וגורלנו ככל המונה, ואנחנו קוראים ומשתחווים ומודים לפני מלך מלכי המלכים הקדוש ברוך הוא, שהוא נותן שמיים ויוסד הארץ, ומושב יקרו בשמיים נקרא, ושכינתו זו בגובה מרומנו. אלוהינו אמת כלפינו ופסולתו, ככתוב בתורתו, וידעת היום והשב אותם אל לבבך. כתוב בתורתך, Adonai yimloch le'olam va'ed v'nema v'haya Adonai le'melech al kol ha'aretz vayom hahu yihyeh Adonai echad U'shemo U'shemo
You may be seated at this time of memorial. Recall and reverence the yortzites of those who have been gathered unto their people. On this Shabbat, remember the souls and lives of Joe Altman, Paul Ash, Doris Bass, Ralph Black, Ruth Block, Rose Brooks, Max Carlton, Thelma Chernin, Lillian Cohn, Pearl Costin, Edward Feinberg, Bernice Friedman, Abraham Frosch, David Gelman, Harry Goldfarb, Helen Goldman, Stephen Gorowitz, Loretta Gottfried, Yuda Gutstein, Bertha Hellman, Lou Hursk, Sylvia Honig, Lawson Hughes, Alan Kalkin, Aaron Kessler, Miriam Sandra Lehrman, Erica Michelle Licht, Harry Madnick, Daniel Mallet, Howard Margowski, Ruth Melworm, Kenneth Miller, Esther Morgan, Livia Newman, Bernard Novetsky, Irving Padua, Alice Pear, Morris Recht, Albert Resnick, Sandra Rhodes, Helen Rosenbaum, Ben Rosenstein, Arthur Oliver Ross, John Schaefer, Henry Schrag, Ann Seekoff, Nathan Surratt, Norman Schulman, Meyer Siegel, Bella Siegelstein, Priscilla Spies, Arnold Taub, Barry Tenenbaum, Martha Widauer, Rachel Leah Willens, George Willens, Carol Wiseman, Emil Zirk, Alan Rauschman, and Lila Rauschman. We're also mindful of the recent passing in our community of Evelyn Selbert, mother of Linda and Philip Gardner. For those reciting Kaddish, we invite you to rise at this time. And if you're at home and this is your sacred community to recite the words of the Kaddish, we invite you to rise as well as those joining together in Kaddish join at this time. Yit Gadal v'Yit Kadash Shemei Rabbah. Amen. V'alma divrach erutei v'amlich malchutei v'chayechon v'yomechon u'chayei d'chol Beit Yisrael v'galav v'zman kariv yimeru. Amen. Yehi Shmei Rabbah mevorach le'olam umei omaya. Yitbarach, Yishtabach, Yitpa'ar, Yitraman, Yitnaseh, Yitadar, Yitaleh, Yitalal, Shemei de Kudisha, Brichu, Le'ela, Min Kol, Birchata, Shirata, Tushvichata, V'nechamata, Da'miran, V'alma, V'meru, Amen, Yehi Shlama, Rabba, Min Shemaya, V'chaim Aleinu, V'al Kol, Israel, V'meru, Amen, Oseh Shalom Bimromav, Hu Yaseh Shalom, Aleinu v'al kol Yisrael v'meru. Amen. May God who establishes peace in the heavens grant peace and harmony to us, all of Israel, and all of humanities. We say, Amen. You may be seated. My pleasure to call forward Debbie Strom, our president, to share with us some announcements.
Shabbat Shalom.
Shabbat Shalom.
And welcome to everyone who's joined us here today in the sanctuary and on live stream. Thank you, Chazan Stein, Rabbi Vogel, and Bryce, for leading this morning's service. After the service, at about 12:30, Rabbi Vogel will be leading a study session on the Jewish sources related to abortion. Next Friday at 7 o'clock, Summer Shul continues with Sports Shabbat. Wear your favorite team's t-shirt or jersey and stay afterward for the ballpark-themed doneg. Friday services this summer are with Aliyah and Shomrei together. So the next two Fridays, July 8th and 15th, services are here at 7 o'clock. The 3 weeks after that, July 22nd, 29th, and August 5th, we will be together at Shomrei Torah, and those services will begin at 6 o'clock. Next Saturday morning, our regular Shabbat service is here in the sanctuary beginning at 10 o'clock. I wanted to mention community outreach. The current collection is school supplies for Schools on Wheels. So even though it seems like we just got into summer, when you start buying school supplies, buy extra for the drive. And we are also holding a blood drive on Sunday, July 31st. You can find information on both of these and other events on our website, templealiyah.org. And it's July, so it's membership renewal time. And by now you should have received information by email and some of you by snail mail. If you have questions, you can call the office after July 4th. Stan and I renewed our membership, and I hope you all will join us being a part of Aliyah's continuing story. Shabbat Shalom.
Nice. Our rabbinic intern, right? One of them, David Mendelson, is right here behind me. He will be today. I guess yesterday was your official beginning, and I hope you'll get a chance to meet him and to take good care of him. He will be here. I'm leaving tomorrow for England, visit my son and his family. I'll be gone for a couple of weeks, and our rabbinic intern David will be here with you and with Hazan Mimi, who's actually, right as we speak, back east attending the wedding of Rabbi Galko, which will take place later today, so which is very nice. And our other rabbinic intern, Alex Rosenbaum, is getting married next Sunday. So we've given her a little bit of reprieve in terms of starting her duties, but we're looking forward to both of them. If you are interested in attending the session that I'm doing at 12:30 on abortion, even if you did not RSVP, I welcome you to attend. You can share materials if we have to. I'll be going through a number of Jewish sources, traditional Jewish sources, even from the Torah through the Mishnah to modern day Orthodox and conservative rabbis in terms of the issue. We'll talk more in depth. It's hard to do it publicly about the nuance and issues related to abortion, but I think Judaism has an important voice to have in this discussion. So I hope you'll come, and I'll be doing it again more through the summer and August. I think a couple of times we'll set dates for that. In the meantime, Adam Singer, you're going to come here and you're going to lead us in Kiddush. Let's rise together, beginning with Vishamru.
Vishamru b'nei Yisrael et ha-Shabbat la'asot et ha-Shabbat לדורותם ברית עולם. ביני ובין בני ישראל אותי לעולם. כי ששת ימים עשה אדוני את השמיים ואת וביום השביעי שבת וינפל וביום השביעי שבת
Kein berach lanais yom ha-Shabbat v'kadshehu savri chavarai
לחיים.
Baruch Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam borei peri hagafen.
Amen. Yeah, it's just grape juice. Sorry about that, Adam. All right, Adam's going to do Netilat Yadayim, washing of the hands in anticipation of the challah and the blessings. There's towels there. And then you can bring the challah with you as well, and the salt. You can bring it up here, back to the table if you want. And we're going to want to recite the blessing first for Netilat Yadayim. You did it already there? Okay, so just do both. Good. He's on top of it.
Yes, he
Baruch
is.
Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam hamotzi lechem min haaretz.
Amen. There's salt there too if you want to put salt on it. Shabbat Shalom.
Shabbat Shalom, Shabbat Shalom, Shabbat, 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 Shabbat Shalom, Shabbat Shalom, Shabbat Shalom, Shabbat, 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 Shabbat Shalom, Shabbat, 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 Shabbat Shalom, Shabbat, 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 Shabbat Shalom, Shabbat Shalom, Shabbat Shalom. Shabbat, 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 Shalom. Shabbat, Shalom, Shabbat, Shalom. Shabbat, 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 Shalom.